On May 17th, over 300 exhibitors at the Asia-Europe Toy and Baby Industry Expo, held in Horgos, Xinjiang province, gathered at the organizing committee's service center. They protested strongly against false advertising by the organizers and demanded refunds. Look at this, over 300 people gathered here, but only 3 staff members are taking orders. What kind of expo is this? The Asia-Europe Toy and Baby Industry Expo ran for 3 days, from May 16th to 18th. Exhibitors revealed that although the event appeared large in scale, visitor turnout was extremely low, fewer visitors than exhibitors. Over 300 exhibitors reportedly received only 3 orders in total. One exhibitor even exposed that at the so-called Asia-Europe International Expo, only 1 foreign visitor showed up, allegedly hired by the organizers to create the appearance of international presence. It seemed the organizers focused only on attracting exhibitors to sell their products, but forgot to notify buyers. As a result, just half a day into the 3-day expo, exhibitors began protesting and demanding refunds from the organizers. By the second day, many exhibitors started packing up and leaving the event.
We arrived at Horgos, and by the second day, we're already packing up to go home. Not a single customer showed up.
In the comment section, some users shared that they spoke with several exhibitors and asked how the event was going and how many contracts had been signed. The exhibitors replied, "Don't talk about signing contracts. We haven't even taken the caps off our pens." At 10 p.m. on May 17th, many exhibitors were still gathered at the entrance of the convention center, demanding an explanation. What's even more absurd is that when exhibitors arrived, they found almost everyone who came was from Xinjiang County in Hebei province, as if the event was just a special gathering for locals. This was hardly an international expo. It was more like a hometown reunion thousands of kilometers away in Xinjiang. Unexpectedly, so far from home, exhibitors only saw familiar faces, all of whom felt deceived into coming. With over 300 exhibitors sending an average of 3 to 6 representatives each, around 1,000 people attended the expo. Conservatively estimating, the minimum 3-day round-trip cost per person, including airfare, accommodation, and meals, was about 3,000 yuan, totaling several million yuan in expenses. Adding booth fees, logistics, setup, and sample production, the total losses are estimated to exceed tens of millions of yuan. These foreign trade factory owners are already overwhelmed, struggling to survive amid the tariff war. They attended the expo, expecting to secure large orders. Yet, despite investing significant time and money, they failed to sign a single contract or even see any foreign buyers. They came hoping to make profits, but ended up being easy targets for exploitation. The Asia-Europe Toy and Baby Industry Expo was held at the China-Kazakhstan Horgos International Convention and Exhibition Center in Xinjiang. Organized by the China-Kazakhstan Cooperation Bureau, the event claims to leverage Horgos Free Trade Zone's position as a Belt and Road gateway, offering foreign trade factories excellent opportunity to enter international markets and connect with Eurasia. It aims to help businesses expand into Russia, Central Asian countries, as well as Turkey, India, Pakistan, Iran, and other global markets. Even during the expo's preparation phase, the organizers heavily promoted the event on platforms like Douyin, claiming it would attract over 20,000 domestic and international buyers and gather more than 500 quality exhibitors. The organizers even traveled to places like Moscow, Russia, and Islamabad, Pakistan. There, they personally invited buyers and had local clients promote the event, producing videos to showcase their international efforts. They targeted exhibitors strategically, reportedly spending huge advertising budgets in Xinjiang County, Hebei province, and cooperating closely with local authorities. Xinjiang was chosen for its concentration of stroller and toy car manufacturers and is known as the stroller capital of China. Because of the organizers' promotion and local government backing, these foreign trade factories saw hope, especially amid shrinking orders caused by the US-China trade war, and urgently sought new markets. Little did they know, these grand invitations were just a deceptive front. Even Pakistan, often called China's iron brother, sent no buyers to support the expo this time. Since hardly anyone showed up to visit, some exhibitors started moving their stalls outside the exhibition hall on the second day, hoping to sell their samples there. Having failed to make any sales inside, they preferred to offload products cheaply rather than bring them back. By the third day on May 18th, the exhibition hall was nearly empty. One exhibitor lamented, "We came with great expectations, but ended up with nothing." Another vendor sighed, "We arrived full of energy and left covered in dust. This event only boosted the economy of the high-speed rail, airlines, and hotels."
今天展会是第3天。
Today is the third day of the expo, and as you can see, the vendors have all left. Some exhibitors can't even declare customs, so they can't take their samples back. Look, everything's been cleared out. They probably don't want any of these items anymore. Almost everything is gone. Look, these are all from Hebei. It's the third day, and you can see the vendors selling plush toys packing up. There's nothing left over here or over there. Basically, the entire exhibition hall has been emptied. According to exhibitors, the standard booth fee was over 8,000 yuan, while the premium large booths cost over 100,000 yuan. Far from. After strong protests from the exhibitors, the organizers agreed to refund half of the booth fees. Many exhibitors complained that this compensation was far too inadequate. One exhibitor posted a video saying the Asia-Europe International Toy and Baby Expo ended up a complete failure. No orders were signed. Although the outcome was disappointing, they said they did their best and had no choice but to accept the result. A netizen commented, "No wonder all that advertising in Hebei. These expos nowadays are just one wave of exploiting exhibitors after another. Last year it was Shandong's turn to be fooled. This year it's Hebei's. After all this fuss, who knows which region's exhibitors will be the next big losers next year?" Another wrote, "These trade fairs are something else. You wouldn't even know they were happening until everything was packed up. The only strong promotion is during teardown. Now it's famous, but unfortunately, everyone's already left." Some users even joked, Horgos went too far. At least the Xinjiang Expo hired some local seniors to liven up the place. This time, they didn't even bother with that. This netizen may be harsh on the organizers. The expo venue, the China-Kazakhstan Horgos International Convention and Exhibition Center, is located in the first China Cross-Border Free Trade Zone, the Horgos Free Trade Zone. Entry requires a passport, so hiring local seniors to hype the event isn't so easy. People with passports may not want to do it, and those willing to might not have passports, so the result is a near-empty site. Additionally, some exhibitors reporting that crossing the border within the free trade zone without carrying a passport can result in fines.
Brothers, the expo just ended, and I want to give everyone a heads up. Many people came to the China-Kazakhstan border, but they made a mistake and got fined. Here's what happened. This is China's red line. If you want to enter this side, you must carry your passport. Without it, you'll be fined 200 yuan. So many people got fined. Remember to always bring your passport. This reminder is very important. If you come to take photos or handle business, make sure to bring your passport. There are electronic surveillance cameras and monitoring here.
A businessman from Hebei, based in Horgos, posted a video explaining the reasons why no buyers from Central Asia, Russia, or other countries attended.
Today,
let's talk about the recent uproar in Horgos, mostly involving us folks from Hebei, including my peers. It's about the Bicycle and Toy Expo organized by the China-Kazakhstan Corporation Bureau in Horgos. Things have gotten pretty serious these past few days. It's basically a complete failure for the expo. So, what exactly happened?
According to this TikToker, Xinjiang mainly deals with 3 countries, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, and Kyrgyzstan. These countries have small populations, underdeveloped economies, and limited purchasing power. Some longtime clients and fellow countrymen who came here to develop businesses over a decade ago remain there. Back then, domestic factories were fewer, and these countries were in their economic growth phase with stronger purchasing power, so profits were higher. Now there is no profit. Daily consumer goods in Central Asian countries face even fiercer competition than in China.
Why do I say competition here is even fiercer than in China? After the pandemic ended and visa-free travel began, many Chinese people enter Central Asia without informing each other. But these countries aren't blank markets. They're just more specialized. You can't apply China's consumer mindset here, where people buy what looks good today and want something new tomorrow. In these countries, if something doesn't wear out or break, they simply won't replace it. With a population of 65 million, these countries don't even have the purchasing power of 20 million people in China. Moreover, the longtime local business owners here have been shrinking their operations, and profits keep dropping sharply. A large number of former major clients have completely ceased their business activities.
Additionally, since visa-free travel was established between these countries and China, many Chinese people, including factory owners, have gone there to do business. However, they mostly shipped goods over without making much profit and remained in a very passive position. Once the goods passed the customs, they couldn't be returned, and no one wanted to take care of the unsold products. Not only were the goods hard to sell, but they were also frequently left with unpaid debts.
That's why you need to think twice before doing anything. As for the organizers, We don't know if they failed to properly research the market or had other motives. People from our hometown have been doing business there for many years. They should have consulted these experienced veterans and conducted real market research in these countries. Now there are so many Chinese people there. Which country doesn't have mainland Chinese? There are hundreds of thousands. It's way too many. Holding this expo was truly a huge failure. The loss isn't just financial. Everyone's enthusiasm is gone. This is a key industrial zone for us.
In fact, the failure of the Asia-Europe International Toy Expo is not an isolated incident. It reflects the broader challenges faced by the Horgos Free Trade Zone in recent years. As a key node in the Belt and Road Initiative, the Horgos Free Trade Zone was once highly anticipated, but reality has fallen far short of expectations. According to mainland Chinese media reports, the Horgos Free Trade Experimental Zone officially launched on December 5, 2023. The zone straddles the border between China and Kazakhstan, covering 5.6 square kilometers across both countries, and is known as the China-Kazakhstan Cooperation Zone. China has invested a total of 30 billion yuan to develop it into a major hub of the Belt and Road Land Economic Corridor, and the country's largest overland automotive export port. Within the Free Trade Zone, wholesale markets such as the Zhongke International Trade Center and Golden Port have been established. The zone also offers various incentives, including tax exemptions and investment subsidies. Visitors can enter the area visa-free, simply presenting a passport or valid entry-exit permit. Initially, Chinese visitors were granted a daily tax-free allowance of 8,000 yuan. The expo organizers repeatedly highlighted the strategic location of the Horgos Free Trade Zone in promoting the expo, claiming it would connect the Eurasian market and link to countries like Russia, Central Asia, and Eastern Europe. However, the reality is far from this vision. As the previously mentioned TikToker explained, Horgos primarily targets Kazakhstan, whose economy is underdeveloped with very limited consumer purchasing power. As a result, this heavily invested free trade zone remains quiet and fails to meet expectations. Recently, a new policy implemented on April 19th caused a sharp drop in visitor traffic, leading many duty-free shops to cease operations.
今天是2025年5月17号。
Today is May 17, 2025, in the China-Kazakhstan Cooperation Zone in Horgos, Xinjiang. A new policy took effect on April 19. Previously, each person could buy 2 packs of cigarettes and 2 bottles of alcohol per day within the zone and bring them out. Since April 19th, however, the limit has been reduced to just 2 packs of cigarettes per person per day, and alcohol is no longer allowed. This should be peak tourism season. But as you can see, the plaza outside is nearly empty. Look at Ganluo 1, the largest sales base at the Horgos port. Look at the hall in these shops. How can this still be called a trade and economic zone? The policy change has effectively killed an entire industrial belt. No one knows what the leadership's next move for the Horgos' economy will be.
According to the TikToker, the free trade zone previously saw few tourists, mainly locals coming to bring goods. They would buy items like cigarettes and alcohol from Kazakhstan, and then sell them to distributors or customers in China. The fee for bringing in 1 carton of cigarettes was 75 yuan. This business alone supported about 1/3 of the city's population. But now that's no longer the case. Simply put, the profits from this trade were still made from Chinese consumers. Tourists coming from Kazakhstan mostly brought everyday items like clothes and bags, but their numbers were very small. The recent policy changes reducing the quota for bringing goods, the business is no longer profitable, and the free trade zone has seen even fewer visitors. In addition to policy and market issues, the duty-free shops in the Horgos Free Trade Zone have also faced heavy criticism over counterfeit goods.
在霍尔果斯免税店买的 LV 包包竟然是假的。
The Louis Vuitton bag bought at the Horgos duty-free shop turned out to be a fake. A fan who saw my video from a couple of days ago bought an LV bag from the duty-free shop next to the Matryoshka doll hotel in Manzhouli. They wanted to verify if it was genuine. He said he once asked a friend to buy an LV baguette-shaped bag from the Horgos duty-free shop. Wow, those so-called duty-free shops in tourist areas near the border. What's going on? At first, I didn't understand either. When I mentioned the duty-free shop next to that Matryoshka hotel, I was confused. LV doesn't usually offer discounts at duty-free shops except airports. How could there be a duty-free shop next to a tourist spot? Later, thanks to the comments, I learned that some shops near the tourist sites were named duty-free shops, but aren't truly duty-free shops. The management isn't always strict, and some people misunderstand. So the so-called duty-free shop is just a store name, not an official duty-free outlet. The store's name is Duty Free Shop, which does sound a bit like a joke. Only in China would someone come up with such a scheme. A second-hand luxury bag reseller who goes by the name Sister Du began authenticating the LV bag sent in by the fan. Let's first look at the logo. Those who have received Sister Du's LV authentication know the brand's font style is always consistent, but here the logo's lettering is all wrong. Now let's check the pattern. It's actually pretty good. They put some effort into the design. The pattern looks carefully done. So why didn't they put the same effort into the logo? It's so fake. Sister Du then examined the bag's serial number and receipt, and her final conclusion was, our authentication results are the LV purchase from the Horgos Free Duty Shop is fake. Some commented that when shopping at the Horgos Duty Free Shop, customers must explicitly request genuine products, otherwise they'll end up with fakes. One user exclaimed, "Oh heavens, I bought a bottle of miracle water at the Horgos Duty Free Shop today. It was originally priced at over 1,000 yuan after normal discount, but when marked down 40% to 698 yuan because the packaging was damaged. When I opened it, there was hardly any scent or effect. I also bought a small set that smelled terrible when I opened it, very pungent and completely different from the larger bottle. The cleansing cream leaked and ran out. I took photos and messaged the store, but haven't received a reply." Another user said, "I visited several stores and bought 10 boxes of cigarettes of different brands, but 7 or 8 had the same musty fake cigarette smell. At this rate, most are probably counterfeit." Another customer stated, "I tried smoking a few packs that were genuine, but all the ones I took home were fake." One consumer complained, "I bought Pakistani goat milk powder and sent it to a friend in Shandong, but when they saw it was produced in Shandong, they were so embarrassed." Even the famous camel milk powder is mostly counterfeit. One vendor lamented, "You can't buy authentic Russian or Central Asian food here at all. For Chinese tourists, this place is just a trap." No wonder some netizens mocked. This place is aimed at Kazakhs. What are Chinese people doing, coming here to stir up trouble? Thus, the Horgos Free Trade Zone, heavily invested in by the CCP, is yet another example of China's flashy but hollow projects, filled with false advertising and deceptive tactics. As with the Asia-Europe International Toy and Baby Expo, organizers lure hopeful small business owners with empty promises of internationalization and exaggerated market potential. However, repeated use of these fraudulent schemes inevitably destroys trust and dooms such ventures to failure.